good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you happen to be watching. Welcome again to the Six Bugle Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Ruiz, and I'm here with my very special and popular co-host, Christie Hensler. Christy, how are you?
I don't know about popular. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Well, I'd
So,
say you're popular because you
okay.
just came out with another book and partnering
Yes.
with Kathy Ireland, the supermodel Kathy Ireland, and come out with a new book called Strength, Crush Fear, Embrace Change, and Achieve Success. And by the way, I've got my own signed copy, so thank you very much for that. I do
You
appreciate.
are welcome.
And I know that there's a lot of Six Bugle friends that have requested your book, and I know you've taken care of those requests. So let's talk a little bit about the book. How did you come across being able to collaborate with Kathy Ireland?
Yeah, sometimes opportunities present themselves when you're not expecting it. But I think that's a lesson there to always be ready, because you never know when an opportunity or the right person or the right connection or thing
Sure.
comes in your path. And so it actually wasn't, I was thinking about writing my next book myself last year, and I actually had it mind mapped and just some things in my head about it. And then I had reached out for another opportunity that wasn't even writing a book. It was being on a TV show. And I was just exploring it to see if it was something that would benefit me and my business and impact the people and all those things. And in the course of talking to the agent that was directing that, he, as when I told him my story, he said, "We're actually working on another project right now with Kathy Ireland doing this book called Strength. And I just feel like your story would fit, into this book and what it's talking about." And so I was going one direction, but it ended up going a different direction, but it was what was meant to be. So,
Sure. Opportunities. When you're always prepared, opportunities that do pop up, it does cause for you to be very beneficial. And you, as always, are prepared for that, for those opportunities that just pop up. So, a lot of people say you're an overnight success. Well, when you're ready for those opportunities, then
15 years later, yes, exactly.
it's
Nobody sees in any for anybody, you don't see all of the preparation and the
right.
everything that goes into something before it happens, for
It's like
sure.
that
Mhm.
drawing with the iceberg, and the pinnacle, and but people
Yes,
see what's
exactly.
underneath, all the hard work,
Yes.
dedication, and
Hmm.
extra time that you put in. So I'd like to ask you. Well, there's a few things that I got out of the book, and
Okay.
you've already seen my review on my LinkedIn, and I also have it on our Six Bugle Facebook page. A couple things that I pulled from it was self-awareness as your foundation. Nothing could be more true. Recognizing your emotional triggers, clarifying non-negotiable values. Those are extremely key. Reframing challenges and opportunities. That is very important as well. We want to make sure that we step back and ask ourselves, okay, what is this teaching me? I can't tell you how many times I told my daughter
Yes.
when she tells me with some issues that she's dealing with, and I would say, so what is this telling you? And
Mhm.
you want to take a look at that as in a different frame of mind. That way, you can take these opportunities as a learning opportunity, and also building your growth support system. And I know you and I talked about that at one of our podcasts several months ago.
Mhm.
We talked about your own board of directors for life, and that is very important as well. You have to have your own support system, and having people that are there to hear you, to help you, or to hug you. Those three by
Yes.
Charles Duhigg, the book from Charles Duhigg, Super Communicators. What do you want me to do? You want me to help you? You want me to hug you, or do you want me to just hear you? So those are very important. So let me ask you a couple of questions. What's the most unexpected lesson you've learned from a challenging situation that initially seemed purely negative?
Hmm. Well, I could pick probably a lot. So I think the general lesson would be sometimes we make decisions in our life or we do things, and at the time we don't see the ripple effect that they're going to have, or we don't see how they're putting us on the right trajectory or going to change our life down the road or things like that. But it's important that we trust the process of life, if you will, sometimes, and not try to control the outcome so hard. And I think for me personally, a story that, comes up. As a lot of my family and I traveled for a lot of years, and it was not a glamorous Instagram worthy vacation. It was rebuilding our life. And, and for at one point in that travel, we had moved a lot and we had to repack everything in our car. And it was a lot of work. It was not fun. And so we had just gotten to North Carolina to spend a couple months, and I was excited to just be somewhere for a couple months and be able to focus on my business and other things and not have to just move and relearn another area. But then we had the hurricane that hit New Bern several years back, and that's where we were. And so we had to evacuate that hurricane, and I was not happy about it. I begrudgingly left with Matt and the kids because he was going to leave me there because he was leaving. And and in the process of doing that, when we were in Alabama staying with some friends, we had another acquaintance reach out to us and wanted us to come visit them for a couple days before we went back to
Mhm.
North Carolina. And I really didn't want to do that. I just wanted to be home. I didn't want to leave in the first place, but I just felt in my gut very strongly that we needed to go do this,
Sure.
and we did it. We made that connection. But what we didn't know is that those same people a year later would provide us a place to live for several months at a very, very hard patch in our life.
Mhm.
And they would also be the same people that would bring us to Alabama permanently to give Matt his first job in like 6 or 7 years. And so I think from that, I mean, that all of those situations seemed very negative. We had to move, we had nowhere to live, we had no money at one point.
Mhm.
And, but, a decision that I made a year prior to do something that was uncomfortable at the time and inconvenient, if you will, ended up literally changing the trajectory of our life because we were not planning on being in Alabama. That was not on our list of states
Right.
to land in. And so I think it's important that sometimes we don't always see the outcome or understand it. And sometimes it doesn't even make logical sense. But if you can trust your gut and you know in your gut that that's where the piece is and that's what you're supposed to do, even if it's not comfortable, I think you
Mhm.
should do it.
Right. Right. Good. Fantastic. So another question is, that was very good. And another piece that I got out of your section was, how do you differentiate between adversities to push through versus those that you need to step away from? Share your decision-making framework.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's a loaded question too, because I think there is a difference. There's adversity and there's things in our life, there's people in our life, there's relationships, there's jobs, there's career, there's things that we don't need to be pushing through. There's hard that we don't need to embrace and pain that we shouldn't be taking. But then there's also pain that we should be embracing and hard we should be walking through. And I think the first step in that is if you are really clear on your values and what you stand for, that makes a lot of things easier. It's kind of like if you know your values and your purpose, it's kind of like your North Star. It can lead you because sometimes you may face one adversity, Rudy, and I may face the same thing, but you may, in your situation and what you stand for and where you're headed in life and what growth you're trying to do, you may need to embrace that adversity and go through it. I may need to look at that and go, this is going to be a distraction. This is not an
Right.
adversity I need to take on. I need to step away. And so I think you have to understand your values and what really drives you and where you're headed to be able to weigh those things up against. Because I
Right.
do think it's important, and especially when it comes to relationships, I think this is a sticky topic and there's a lot of people that are way more knowledgeable in this than me, but I think we've become a society that just wants to throw in the towel so easy. We want to give up when it gets hard. When I remarried and married Matt almost 20 years ago, it was hard. We were total opposites. We were not healthy versions of ourselves. I was a hot mess. Like we should have been divorced multiple times. But that was hard that I needed to get over and I needed to do healing within myself to have the relationship we had today. Had I jumped ship then and walked away because it was hard, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I probably wouldn't be alive today if we want
Sure.
to be real. And so, but there's other people that are in truly toxic relationships where they're dealing with abuse and things like that, that they continue to accept that
Right.
they need to say, no, this isn't okay at a human level. This is not hard. I'm supposed to accept. And so I think you have to first know your values and purpose. And then you have to identify, is this a hard that is breaking me as a person and going to leave me for dead? Or is this a hard that if I embrace, I can grow and become a better version of myself?
Right.
And I think when you
Yeah.
can answer those two questions, the path becomes a lot clearer.
Absolutely. And I think that the key word there for me was, can I grow from this?
Yes.
In a lot of cases, especially when you talk about abuse, whether it's mental, physical, or whatever, you need to walk away from those things.
Yes.
And it's okay to say, I've got to look out for myself. I got to take care of myself. A lot of people do struggle, and a lot of people do. get out from under it, and I do
Hmm.
very well. But in some cases, like you said, you got to know what your values are. Is it right for them to treat me like that? Is that acceptable for me? Not just
Right.
for my friends or for my family, but is that acceptable to me? And nine times out of 10, it's not. And that's when you
Yes.
say, okay, we have to make some serious changes here. And if not,
Hmm.
it's over. We're done.
Right.
And not just on relationships, but health issues, family issues, friendships,
Yes.
those types of things. And it's very important to take care of yourself. And
Right.
that's ultimately the bigger picture there. So no, I am glad that our paths crossed many years ago, and
Yes.
we just kind of clicked right away, right, with our little foursome group.
Hmm.
And I tell Jenny, we got to get the band back together.
I
And kind of broken
know. We
since
could
we
be
got
an
that
entertaining band.
first met. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. But we were tight for a while, for 2 years, and then we just,
yes.
but we're you and I still together. We're doing some cool things, and I tell you, you were affecting a lot of people, and I want to commend you for that. Talk about talk about benefiting other people from your adversity. Man, that's huge, and I can only imagine what you were going through at that time and thinking, why am I having to deal with this?
Hmm.
And Matt too, why am I having to deal with this?
Yeah.
Right? But
Right.
both came out stronger because of it, and now you're helping other people grow, and using those as examples, and being brutally honest out there when you're talking to people, and being
Hmm.
vulnerable. Phew, man, that's
Yes.
huge. And I think that's why people like to come to our conferences to talk to you and have you talk about how you can overcome some of these things. And I just want to
Hmm.
say thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good. So we're looking forward to our next conference here in September. We're going to be,
Yes, it'll be here before we know it, huh?
yeah, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. The agenda is filling up. We're still looking for a couple more speakers, but it's starting to fill up. We're getting some registrations already.
Awesome.
Illinois stepping up. They're already
Okay.
yeah. We have a group there that really enjoyed their time over in Wisconsin, and they're coming here to Ohio
Hmm.
this year. So,
Awesome.
but we're looking forward for more registrations. Registrations out there. If you're ready to register, you can find us at www.the6bugle.org, and you can register there. Most of our
Is there
information.
an early bird for that?
Yes, early bird
Okay.
on until
Awesome.
August 1st. So,
Okay.
like I said, we're getting people already registered. There's also a link there for the hotel. They have a special rate for you, and you can just log into that and book your room. Very nice hotel for those of you that have never been there before. The people that have been there in the last couple of years, they wanted to come back. So we it's going to be during the
It
farmer.
is, I will say, because I'm picky and I do like the hotel. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like there's not a resort spa there or anything, but it's a nice, clean hotel. It's easy to get around.
and a lot of
So I totally
communities
agree.
nearby within walking
Hmm.
distance. And of course,
Yes.
farmers market is always fun to go to,
Yes.
and that's part of what we're going to do. So we're looking forward to it. So thank you again for sharing your book, Christy. A lot of
You're welcome.
good information there. And of course, there's also other authors that are in this book, and
Yes.
I think it took 2 days to read it for me, and I thought there was a lot of cool things. And
Hmm.
I even reached out to a couple other authors and said, "Man, that
Awesome.
your material really touched me," and so hopefully we'll get some collaboration with them as well. So,
I talked to one of them last night at our party, and he actually was from the same town as me back in Pittsburgh. Like, is that crazy?
wow, how about that?
Like 15 minutes from where we used to live. So he doesn't live there now, but it's a small world.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
So
you got each other's autographs on your books.
yeah, we did. We did. It's
That is
right
good.
here sitting next to me.
Good,
So
good. So, what's next on your horizon for you?
I don't know. I'm kind of regrouping and just I was thinking about another book. If I feel like it's the right time and I have something that I feel like is worth saying, I mean, that
Mhm.
I can put that people want and I
Sure.
will, but I'm not sure. I have a lot of different things spinning in my head right now. So I'm hoping to kind of talk over some of those things the next couple of weeks with Matt and just
Okay.
see
Sounds good.
see what we think.
Spinning gold, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll see. It's spinning. See what we'll have to see what needs to go and stay.
There
So,
you go. Sounds good. Well, thanks again for joining us on the Six Bugle podcast. We hope to see you again next week and take care.